Real success isn't what you pile up. It's what you no longer need to prove. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, where we help driven people find peace without losing their edge. Today, we question how society's success blueprint traps your soul, why you need to redefine success to create peace, and what to do when all your achievements feel meaningless, right? You have the identity, which is the insertion of your name. With your name carries all that you have ever experienced, all that you have ever memorized. And that turns into knowledge. And what happens when we begin to unravel life from a fundamental, simple standpoint? Meaning that you see, the bottom line to humanity is that each individual has the sense of self, which creates the sense of self in a worldview. They tangle together. And where this is fruitful is starting to realize how much you're trying to prove something in your life by unraveling what you've piled up. Because when you look at how we are just naturally holding on to pieces of our lives, then that skepticism can start to grow, can start to strengthen. When you bring skepticism into the way that you move, into the way that you think, looking and observing at your behavior, your tones of voice, the words you use, the cadence of your speech, the pacing of your physical movement in creation, the things you choose to do or the things that you avoid doing, the conversations that you know you need to have. The list goes on and on. You see, you don't need to remember that list of examples which I gave you. What we're talking about here is when you are no longer attached to fitting in, to playing a specific role, to pleasing certain expectations of others, right? When you look at how the expectations of others are created, you first understand that you have had expectations in your life, right? So then you can see the mechanisms which bring forth expectation within yourself, meaning that let's say that you have a plan, right? Can you notice that your mind will begin to create expectations if you can just look at that? If you can watch how your mind creates expectations, then that's all you need right there. That's the golden key. Because no one can teach you how to watch, observe, to see, and hear. You can't force yourself to get better at those things. I wouldn't even call them skills, because a skill is something that you gain, usually, right? What we're looking at here, to observe your own thinking, to observe your sense of self in operation, it's not a discipline. You can start with certain practices, but those practices will have to be let go of, inevitably. You can see that there are certain actions, exercise, movement, that is helpful, but you can't exercise with a motive or an expectation to get better at seeing, hearing, and observing. That's the subtlety of this game, which is changing humanity. You change yourself first. You don't force humanity to change with you. You don't ask that others operate on the same vibration or level of awareness, of clarity that you may see through, because you fully understand how your journey has unfolded and is unfolding continuously. So it's this balance, right? You could use a very bland one like yin yang, or we could talk about the subtlety of aggressiveness with patience. And we can see that you are not wrong for piling things up. That's where you are. That's what needs to happen for you to start to see how much you've piled up. You don't judge yourself for being blind in the past, and you don't praise who you are now for taking off the veil. You see that ignites a new energy and awareness, a compassion, a new relationship to all that breathes. And you look at that, right? You feel that, you observe that. It's magical because when you're not needing to prove because you're actually learning, then you have no more weight. I was just speaking to my sister about something super simple, where the metaphor in this context is weight. But what I was sharing with her, we were talking about a trap door, right? Nature's put it in front of us. There are trapdoor spiders. There are basements within houses, attics. Point is, there are doors that are not necessarily the front door. If we look at that in your house, what do people usually do in their basement, their attic? They usually store things, right? They pile things up. They hide stuff, if you will. And I want to say that we also have trapdoors, attics, and basements within our vessel, within our being, is unworking the generational trauma. But before you even get to generational stuff, we just realize on a day to day basis that there are moments where we pile up, where we judge, where we hold on to moments. The clarity which the mirror is showing us is the fact that we are having a reaction. That reaction in the moment that it arises is a gift. But so many of us go and run with the reaction, whether it be traffic, whether it be a coworker, whether it be your boss. If you can notice your reactions, then you no longer need to prove things because you see in yourself the game is about looking at yourself, not fitting into the mold that others want you to be. And when you're that vulnerable, that aligned, that strong, that you're no longer seeking validation in the external, you start to realize that your heart is the only validator, that the truth is within you. And there's something just so beyond words when you tune into the truth, which is your compass inside. And now let's question how society's success blueprint traps your soul. And really, the main cog in this machine is money. Now, money isn't bad. Money is fully necessary. It's a good thing. So how can you change your relationship to what you can't control, right? Because we can't just change how society's been created in the snap of our fingers, but as you change the internal with the snap of a finger, then you move in a different way. What happens when we have hundreds, thousands of individuals who are no longer asleep? When humanity's awakening cannot be stopped? What happens if the average Joe is awake? Then, naturally, society's success blueprint will no longer be something construed out of a low vibrational level of consciousness. When our education system is reinvigorated via awareness, when our healthcare system is reinvigorated via awareness, our industry, all of our factories, everything, our food chain, the way that we eat, the way that we process food, the ingredients that we even allow in our factories. This all spans from you doing the work for yourself. When you understand that you're powerful, then that creates a huge responsibility in your heart to live your life righteously. When you live your life righteously, others' souls will get a taste of the freedom. You sow those seeds, it's inevitable. It's absolutely inevitable that the trapped soul gets a little bit looser, a little bit closer to questioning itself. And then when all of us are questioning, aware, noticing, observing, seeing, and hearing the energetic creation, what we're radiating moment to moment, the unseen communication, which is so real, everything about this world changes. But it starts with you. It starts with you. Now, why you need to redefine success to create peace. You see, everyone has a different journey. There are going to be 19-year-olds making millions. There are going to be 15-year-olds making millions. There are going to be 40-year-olds working minimum wage. There are going to be 40-year-olds making 100K a year, 300K a year. What's the common denominator? The common denominator is the fact that we're all humans. So we go back to the sense of self. And then you look at how a worldview of success rids you of peace, right? Then you'll never be at peace until you get that thing. And then when you get that thing, you'll realize that you're still not at peace, that it was a trap, that the success was just an idea, that the freedom was not actual, a illusion created via limitation, thought, projected into the future. If you question where your thought came from, if you observe the way that your brain works, that your being works, that you have memory, that you have sense of self, and that creates knowledge, and it comes from past experiences, and then you have thought, and then you have time. If you observe, then you can break the quantum mechanics of reality. And when you see through the veil, when you see through the sense of self, that awareness doesn't leave you. You're still a human being. You're still moving. You still understand how to use language, GPS, knowledge, etc. Do math. You're still operating, functioning very efficiently, smoothly. But you're no longer bound by the illusions which you created, which may have been passed down to you, not questioned, and then accepted, right? When you bring skepticism into your life, you redefine, you create anew, hence being reborn. So, what to do when all your achievements feel meaningless? Hey, first of all, those things needed to happen for you to be here, listening right now, interested in what you're interested in. So, was it a mistake? No. All of your achievements do have meaning. It's just that your achievements are not the meaning. All your knowledge, your memory, your experiences have meaning. The meaning is realizing how to be, how to share, how to embody. That will absolutely reinvigorate our world. And you're important. You're part of it. This isn't something that you start tomorrow. Start now. As you listen to these videos, observe your own thinking. You observe your own thinking as much as you possibly can. It will show you what needs to be let go of. It'll show you where you're attached, where you're offendable, where you're insecure and weak. It's only for the strong to do this work. Every single human being is strong. The trouble is, some of you have been convinced that you're otherwise. And I'm here to remind you, I'm here to tell you that you have the power, that you are the creator, that no one's going to do the work for you, and that emphasizes the need for you to be strong. Let's go. Recap how society's success blueprint traps your soul. We're told to memorize in school. We're not told to question. Our parents, a lot of parents, didn't do this work. And that's not judging them. That's just where humanity was at. But now we're stepping into a new front. We're stepping into something new. The consciousness is showing us. At least it's showing me. And I know I'm not alone. If you're here listening, there's something in your heart that catches on to the place in which these words are coming through. This has nothing to do with the individual who's speaking. It has so much to do with the care for this world. We were told that we're not defiant, but we're not blind, and we don't just accept things. We're not rebels, but we do see how to stand up for oneself. You need to redefine success to create peace. Well, if you've been living your life in a manner where you think peace is somewhere else, then you have to redefine your relationship to that idea that peace is somewhere else. That still means you build, you still create, you still work, you still put out. Sometimes wake up at 3 a.m., do your thing, but you're not chasing anymore. You're not seeking anymore. You see that the game is the game, and you play it the best you possibly can. Now, what to do when all your achievements feel meaningless? Well, hey, first of all, just take a step to be grateful. The fact that you are who you are, where you are, no matter how hard it feels, no matter where you're at, no matter what you have or don't have. You're here. You're listening, especially this long, right? If you can listen to a video of this essence, 20 minutes, it's not by mistake. And I promise you that. It's not by mistake. So when your achievements feel meaningless, remember, that's okay. Now go for a walk, right? If you're actually down, if you're actually in a place of hurt, do something for yourself. Some push-ups. Maybe just sit and breathe. Genuinely, sit and breathe. But your achievements aren't all you are. They're part of the game, but they're not. That's not what life is about. The meaning is the learning. The meaning is the pain that has brought you here. So keep achieving, but remember that achieving, it's not the essence of once I achieve this, then I'll get this. That's not it. Achieve for the world. That's it. I appreciate you. Let's go. Genuinely, thank you so much for listening. Let's go. And if you're ready to define success on your terms, if you're ready to free yourself from any form of illusion, well, let's talk about what that looks like for you. Links below, description. We can do anything you really need. If you want to work specifically on behavioral patterns, if you want to build confidence so that you can speak to anyone and everyone, if you need to get into better shape physically, if you want to work on observing your thoughts, freeing yourself from your reactionary nature, the list goes on. Let me know what it is that you want to look at together. And I'll be genuine with you. I'll let you know where you're at, how I feel about what you're sharing with me. And if it seems like there's a synchronicity there, you'll leave that call. I guarantee you'll leave that session renewed with 3 practical insights in relationship to what you need to let go of. Take me up on that if you're interested. Have a great day. Speak soon.